to be an astronaut and fly in the sky with a rocket ship.
We believe that 90% acknowledges that children can learn and that we have the mechanisms by which to teach them. We've talked about 3 preconditions. Those preconditions are that students need to be engaged, that there needs to be relevant and rigorous curriculum in place, and that teachers need to have the skills to teach that curriculum and the motivation to do so, with the acknowledgement that you're teaching every single student. It's a constant process of looking at what you're doing, finding ways to identify student learning needs, addressing those student learning needs with a strategy, and then going back to that and saying, did it make a difference? You're not just looking at your grade level. You're looking at what's coming before, what's coming after, and how are those curriculum expectations linked. Often we work in isolation, and what we're really trying to do as part of this strategy is to encourage people to work together so that ideas that I may not have, someone else might, but we're really taking ownership over all of the students in the building, and we are trying to move toward that collective 90%. What our task was to actually identify 4 grade levels in the 4 different divisions. Where could we see evidence of growth and change? What is it that by the time a student exits a certain grade level or a certain division, what skills need to be in place in order to make them successful in beginning their next leg of the journey?
Well, high school, you have to teach even more and more and more a day.
I think one of the most critical features that we have to recognize in consolidating 7 and 8s in a 7-12 configuration is that 7 and 8s have been, unfortunately, poorly served. This is the time in the life of young people when they are making decisions about what's worth doing. And one of the things we hope they decide is that learning is worth doing. Because this is the window in life when you determine what my future will look like. You fall in love literally with a new vision of yourself. And unfortunately, in the K-8 facilities, we didn't have the resources in those small buildings to provide the kind of curriculum exposure that I think young adolescents desperately need.
The bold and brave decision that was made on May 14th, nearly 2 years ago, to move to a whole new model of delivery of elementary K-6 style education in 7 through 12. It started us on a journey of moving to high-performance centers in every single area of our board. And this past year we moved thousands of kids, and it went without a hitch.
The fears that we had and that parents had that kids were going to get stuffed in lockers and that sort of stuff was, that was all adult stuff. When we interviewed the students from the 7 and 8, what we found out is that their biggest concern was where their locker was going to be.
I really didn't have any concerns. I was actually looking forward to coming to school a lot.
There's a lot more sports opportunities.
They like the fact that they have the Rotary system where they get to go around and they have different teachers.
It was a bigger school. You know, they had a library, bigger gym, because our school was of course a lot smaller. The gym was puny.
They love the fact they have focus groups and that wood shop is not done in the classroom, that they actually get to go to the wood shop to do that.
In a high school you got a lot more money, I guess, they have to spend on books, so they have a lot more variety, a lot more resources, they have a lot more computers, which is helpful. Because the school before we had very little computers, so getting onto one might have been a challenge now and then.
It was like they had been here all along. I've never seen a startup so smooth in any teaching, even when we hadn't moved school.
I think our 7 to 12 schools are well positioned to make the 90% a reality. We have many things in place that we can do to support our students. Students that become disengaged in grade 7 or 8, we have more things at our disposal. We have more enhanced programs, we have facilities to engage them, we can be more nimble on our feet.
But where we're finding the real benefits are coming for kids are when 2 teachers that have like personalities or like interests connect, one from the high school panel and one from the elementary panel, they share their expertise.
This year we were very proud of our grade 9 EQAO math results. We were far above the provincial average. We have a goal of even increasing that. One thing that's been going on at Seaway this year is our grades 7 through 12 math teachers have been involved in a Ministry of Education project called GAINS, where they get to collaborate together, they plan lessons together, they troubleshoot the lessons after, and they mark work together.
What that will develop is the opportunity for those 7 and 8 teachers to meet with the 9, 10, 11, and 12 teachers and develop that continuum of learning from 7 to 12. Last year, when the first group of grade 8s moved into grade 9, we had 22 grade 9s on the honor roll. 14 of those 22 were Tugwell 7 grade 8s that moved into grade 9. Coincidence, possibly, but I'm seeing it again this year, where our Tugwell kids from last year are predominantly academically being very successful, and a lot of it is the academic, but it's the result of the social and the emotional support.
And the fact that I still have that connection to the students, that I have that ability to have it, that it wasn't like, okay, I got you past grade 8, see you later. I actually get to see them every day. And when they come to me and still say, you know, could you help me with this math question? I can do that. I'm here. If there's a student that's having difficulty, that if I can't help them directly, indirectly I can, because that teacher can come to me and say, what really worked for you with this student?
You get a lot of negative publicity about senior level kids, and one thing that can't be understated is the influence that they have in supporting some of our most needy elementary students.
Some of our younger students too might not see themselves as being a graduate or graduate material, and having a senior student as a mentor helps them see themselves that way, that I want to be like that person in grade 12 where they're getting their credits, they're coming to school, and they're going to graduate.
I know that the conversation of college or university has come up in our home sooner than it probably would have, where I typically with my older children I didn't have that discussion until they were in grade 10 or 11. That's a conversation we're having now because she's thinking ahead to that.
So I think what parents have to understand is that the best 7-12 buildings are as rigorous as Harvard and as caring as kindergarten. And it's the blend that we're after. And I think parents should rest assured that they're getting the personalization, but they're also now getting the rich exploratory experiences that young adolescents intellectually desperately need.
To think that we closed that many schools, to think that we changed the routes of that many students, and to not have a number of problems is phenomenal, but to have so few problems is just a true testament to how well the team focused on the kids, on the strategic plan, on the ultimate goal, 90%, in order to make this thing come off so successfully.
I chose to study special high skills major because it reflects on what I want to do whenever I grow up. I want to be a personal trainer.
Later on, when I graduate, I plan on going to university for kinesiology and then becoming a personal fitness instructor.
We're so much about student success now, and as we should be, that this is the kind of program that really helps kids stay in school.
When you do the high skills major, you get a red seal or a diploma, so it tells people, like employers, he knows what he's doing.
It's just something that really interests me, and I like hands-on work, and it works for me.
We haven't had a big problem placing kids. We have a lot of enthusiastic employers in the area willing to help out with that.
It's exposed us to thinking kind of outside the box. It showed us that there's other things you can do besides just, the stereotypical, be an artist.
I'm hoping to get into a good college or university, art-related of course, and then maybe continue it on to some kind of graphic editing or graphic designing job.
The kids have been looking for this for a really long time, so I'm really happy to be able to provide this for them.
The Specialized High Skills Major is a program that has been designed by the Ministry of Education to help students focus their educational pathway directly related to an economic sector while they continue to work on their high school diploma. We have over 300 students enrolled in 11 high skills major programs in 10 of our high schools.
One of the components of the Specialist High Skills Major are CLAs, which are contextualized learning activities. They allow for curriculum expectations that are already there now to have a fitness focus. So if a student is interested in health and wellness and fitness, a math problem that now has a fitness focus is going to be more interesting for them. An English assignment that now is about this field of study now takes on significantly more meaning, and they're going to do better.
For me, what stands out about the high schools major is the real-world applications. So getting them to think about co-op opportunities, doing the job shadowing.
Students have the opportunity to make connections and relationships with employers and personnel in that sector who can help them, mentor them.
So my kids are working with graphic designers and media-related stuff.
We just had a field trip. We did 6 different local industries in one school day.
We plan to take them to university settings, we plan to take them to college settings, workplace, gyms, facilities. I think a lot of times students don't really have an idea of the kinds of opportunities in this field.
In the high skills major, we've been studying Chinese art and culture, and we've been kind of tying it into the historical ink making and printmaking that they did there.
We studied Chinese paper folding, and here's an example of what we made. This is a dragon.
And we can hone in on where their strengths really lie so that when they go off, they've got an amazing portfolio that truly demonstrates their skills.
The experiences we provide, the certifications that we're giving them, are all going to help them get to that next step.